Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Kate and Isaiah Living Large. I'm Isaiah.
And I'm Kate.
And on this episode, we're going to talk about vacations and understanding, eating habits and how do you stay exercising and continually moving while enjoying your vacation. But before we begin, I know we're going to talk, you just got back from vacation, so we'll hold off on the life updates. I kind of want to talk a little bit of pop culture.
Yeah, and culture generally, yeah.
Yeah, and I want to talk about specifically the Barbie and Oppenheimer phenomenon of the double feature that's going on right now. I really want to see those movies.
I really want to see them both, and I haven't yet.
So have you seen any of the discourse around the Barbie movie?
I've seen quite a bit of the discourse, but anything that's like, why the last line has to be what it is, I'm like, nope, not watching that.
So have you seen any like the upset conservative discourse?
No, I haven't seen any
Oh my
of that.
goodness, it's pretty phenomenal. So because Barbie is pretty much a feminist icon, right? For the most
way
part.
the movie's being presented, I wouldn't have called her a feminist icon prior to reading some of the discourse around the movie because, I mean, having a woman who has an unreasonable figure be a model for children and fashion and all of these things isn't necessarily what I would have referred to as a feminist icon.
In figure, no, but Barbie's always been always had a job or always done things that aren't necessarily considered norm for women. So that's what I mean, feminist icon, that kind of way.
I totally get where that discourse is coming from in current day culture, but up until the last year, I don't think I certainly wouldn't have referred to her as a feminist icon.
I probably would have in the last 5 to 10 years. There's a whole TV Netflix series on it. It's pretty awesome.
I miss it.
Highly recommend. But I find it's really funny to watch conservative men like Ben Shapiro freak out about it. One, it's a movie, and two, the worst possible. There are a lot more things to freak out about, but and then there's Oppenheimer, which is just fantastic. And apparently it's just all an existential, lovely weekend for anyone looking to have a great double feature.
You know what? I've been kind of half waiting for them to do at the Sussex Drive-In a Barbie and Oppenheimer double feature. But so far for this coming weekend, it's Barbie and something else that's not Oppenheimer.
That would be awesome.
Wouldn't that be awesome to see it at the drive-in and have that whole nostalgia thing with this nostalgic toy that, I clearly played with quite a lot.
I also played with Barbies when I was a kid.
That's awesome.
My sister had Barbies, so it
Wicked.
was that was kind of a thing you just had around. Right?
Yeah, it was.
They were part of the action figure collection.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then we also had the insane weather we had. Well, we didn't have it here, but Nova Scotia. That was crazy.
Shout out to our friends in Nova Scotia. It is just that they've been through so much in the last 3 months, let alone the last couple of years between shootings and fires and floods, and it's
insane.
Just horrific. And it's one thing when you hear about these things in Turkey and Pakistan and all these places where this has been happening,
California and
but that's
the States, and
this is
next
us.
door. Yeah. And hopefully everyone is safe that listens, and everyone that doesn't listen even safe.
They can stay safe too. You don't have to listen to our podcast for us to care about you.
No, if you listen to our podcast, stay even safer. But no, it's crazy. And then the roads are all washed out. Did you see the picture of the train bridge?
Yeah.
That's the main train in and out of Halifax. And I don't know what that's going to do to our economy. And
I'm sure it'll be rebuilt pretty quickly. I was listening to the news yesterday, and I was listening to the press conference because I was driving home from Woodstock. We'll get into later, and they have seemingly a pretty resourceful plan and priorities to get roads working, and first of all, people safe, and then roads working so that they can get people who are stranded not so stranded.
Yeah, that's good.
But when you look at Halifax area generally, and all of Nova Scotia, or that section of Nova Scotia, that wildfire, took out 200, 300 homes.
Yeah, that, and well, so I didn't actually think of it until this moment, but the wildfire would have taken out a lot of trees, which would have left them pretty susceptible to the crazy rain that we got, because those trees definitely hold back a lot of water during like crazy rain.
Yeah, I wonder if those are things that are connected in this
I
particular
wonder.
case. Yeah, because that's a very good point.
Never thought of that until this moment.
Yeah, we're the meteorological experts now.
Cindy Day used to know what happened in the sky. Now we do.
Yeah. Move over, Cindy. No, I was saying to Isaiah just before we started, I was in Halifax and was leaving just as the wildfires were flaring up, a couple months ago. And then I was in Halifax again about a week ago. And then just after I left, this crazy thing happened. I don't think they're connected. Like, I'm not that.
I think they are.
I'm not that egotistical that I think that I caused this in any way, but it's still pretty eerie.
Heads up to all of Nova Scotia next time you go, just so they're ready. And just make sure they're prepared for whatever the next crazy thing that happens there is.
Yeah, Hurricane Kate.
Hurricane. Hurricane. I like it. Oh goodness. So that's a good segue into your crazy vacation adventures. So you've been out and about running around like a crazy person all the past like week, 2 weeks?
A week and a half, yeah. So will classify this as, if not the best, one of the absolute best vacations I have ever had. And I stayed right here in Atlantic Canada.
So did you start in Woodstock? Was that your first stop, or you
started in Halifax and spent some time with my dear friend Jocelyn, who I learned tried to binge listen to this podcast in advance of me coming so as to not admit to me that she hadn't listened to it, which would have been totally fine. And then I was like, "Ooh, I can't get sick of her voice before she gets here."
That is 21 episodes. We are now on episode 22 today.
She made it to about episode 10 before she was like, "I can't do this anymore," in quick succession. They're fine week over week.
Yeah.
But I couldn't listen to them. I can't listen to one episode of myself.
I have to listen to them over and over and over again.
Thank you for the editing process, Isaiah. I'm glad I just show up and like, oh yeah, here we go. Let's chat.
To be fair, I make her sit in this sauna that is my office. So
it's true. I mean, you're going to watch us lose weight as we sit here over the course of this podcast because it is bloody warm. But yeah, so I was in Halifax and spent a glorious few days with Jocelyn and hung out with her family. And we also went to see the Fleet Foxes as part of the Halifax Jazz Festival.
Oh, I forgot that was this. Oh, man.
And that was incredible. What a great show. I used to listen to the Fleet Foxes in circa 2009, 2010 era. And it was just they're so beautiful. Like their harmonies, they had horns, all of my favorite things. And
I love a good jazz festival. I haven't been to a good jazz festival in a while. I need to start like getting back into festivals.
Yeah. This whole vacation. So then I came home for a couple of days and I went to my swing band rehearsal and then I hosted trivia. And then the next day I left for Woodstock, New Brunswick, which you may think, what's there to do in a town of 5,000 people? Well, let me tell you.
The only thing that ever happens once a year.
Well, it's funny. It was a chock full weekend for Woodstock, New Brunswick. They had a rib fest going on with all free live music. And also something near and dear to my heart, the Dooryard Arts Festival.
Oh, yeah.
Which
helped start that?
I was among the founding members in 2009 and was involved the first 3 years. And so to see this festival still going strong and reviving after, that thing that happened for a couple years.
Yeah. Was this their first year back or was last year the first year back?
They sort of came back last year as a partnership with that Inspire Festival that toured the province, but this is the first full throttle year back since 2019. And it was an amazing weekend in Woodstock, New Brunswick. I saw so many good acts and saw so many friends and people that are like family to me. And it was just such a moving time to be there. But over the course of the week, I ended up being asked to MC a couple of shows.
Nice.
Because
you are amazing.
No, I wouldn't have gone that far. I have a voice and I'm not shy. So the show that I got to host, which I was super pumped about, was the James Mullinger show at Woodstock High School at the McCain Theater. And opening for him was a sketch comedian named Jake Martin. I know both of their names. These are people that I know. I don't know why I'm stuttering. And it was such a wonderful, warm experience, and it was great to see Woodstock come out not only to this subsidiary show as part of the festival, but then really show up at the main stage as well. Like, it was really something. And I know that James has posted a lot since he's seen it about the festival and about
Yeah.
Woodstock generally, and how what an incredible warm environment it was. And that was just further compounded for me by being something so near and dear to my heart. And yeah, so was the vacation. That was literally one of the best vacations I've ever had in my life.
Sounds like an awesome time. Like
Yeah.
just going to different festivals, that'd be deadly. That'd be a great vacation.
It really was. What'd you get up to the last week and a half?
I got to go to the Big Axe Beer Festival.
Oh, yeah, nice.
With
How was
Jill.
it?
That was amazing. Yeah, Jill from Uncorked. Shout out to Uncorked.
You were running the bar at Dooryard.
No. She had an extra ticket and was like, "Hey, you want to go?" And of course, me being a beer person, was like, "Heck yeah!" So we went down up to that. We took a whole bus from here up, and that was awesome. I shout out to that festival. I think that's a great idea to like have a bus that goes from like different cities to take people to,
Oh yeah,
especially when it comes to like a beer festival and stuff.
so you don't have to worry about driving.
Right? Yeah, no. So that was pretty awesome. It's one of the biggest beer festivals in at least in New Brunswick, if not
That's
in
awesome.
the Atlantic provinces. And it was fantastic. Outside of that, I'm just been sitting around, been weaving out on One Piece and trying to survive the heat that is happening right now. Even though it's like been rainy and like wet, gross, it has been hot and sticky at the same time.
And we're in St. John. I can assure you, it was hotter and stickier in Halifax and in Woodstock.
I can only imagine that it was hotter and stickier.
What a respite to come here. Maybe not this room, but here generally.
This is where I live. This is my room. It is always a sauna.
Yeah.
So on your vacation, on your trip, what did you have to eat? Do you have anything good to eat?
I ate at one of my favorite restaurants that I learned recently is in Dartmouth, even though the first time I went there, I could have sworn up and down it was in Halifax, but it was always
What
in
restaurant's that?
Dartmouth. It is called,
Your favorite one. She forgets the name.
oh my God,
My favorite one. I don't know.
it's gone.
Well,
That's really embarrassing. We're going to have to cut that part out.
Nope, not cutting it out. It's staying right in.
That is, yeah, we'll update you on the socials with the name of this restaurant because it's really good, really simple. Limited. We have these delicious margaritas with
Ooh.
our lunch.
One margarita or two?
One margarita.
Did you have 5 margaritas?
One margarita. It was
Only one?
lunchtime.
Only one margarita.
One margarita
Anyway, moving on.
and one sour beer.
Ooh, one sour beer. Like
Yeah.
that.
Oh my God! It starts with a C.
Oh, I don't know. So you had delicious food.
You had delicious food, and one thing I will say, because this is something I'm concerned about, being able to, because of the reason we started this podcast, the
Yeah.
reason we're making these lifestyle changes is so that we can enjoy life,
Heck yeah.
eat, live, move. And so some of that means that you enjoy some delicious food now and then. But that particular day, I ended up with a kind of a rice bowl situation.
Nice.
So it had some food value. I'm not going to write home and say that it was the healthiest choice I could have made. I opted to have that instead of the salad, but just the same, it was absolutely delicious. Absolutely enjoyed it. And that Halifax portion of the vacation, I can assure you, I certainly walked more than I generally walk.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the key thing. We talk about like exercising as like a big portion, and you want to, when you're on vacation, you want to really enjoy your vacation. I think a lot of times we don't realize when we're on vacation that we walk a lot more. At least I do.
I turns out in this particular sense, I do too. In the past, it's been, especially the recent past, I haven't been able to.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And so it was really a joy, even though like there were moments where I was like, oh no, I need a break. I can't make it to the car quite yet. And I kept saying to my friend, I say, well, it's better than the last time I was here anyway.
Yeah, no, that's super exciting.
Canteen.
Canteen.
That's the name of the restaurant. Canteen.
Canteen. That could be any canteen.
No, it's
could
called
be the
Canteen, and it's great. If you're in Dartmouth, check it out.
So, would you eat anywhere else in Halifax area?
We had a lot of meals at home and just kind of, we went to this, I forget what it's called, but it's in Lunenburg. Yeah, no, it's in Mahone Bay and it's a hand pie place.
Ooh, hand pies. I love hand pies.
Oh my gosh, I had this spicy pork hand pie and it might be one of the best things I've ever tasted in my life. And it's just kind of this cute little spot, slightly off the beaten path in Mahone Bay. Mahone Bay is not very big, so slightly
No.
off the beaten path is nowhere far. It's just not on the main street. You have to make one turn.
Yeah, I do love. I love good hand pie.
Gosh, it was good. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was, and it was delightful. And though we did have an inkling when the woman ahead of us nearly bought out everything they had, and we're
Oh,
like,
no.
well, guess we'll have that.
Should have some of that.
Yeah.
So, when you were, I know you don't really count calories. You're not a calorie counter.
No.
Are you conscious of what you're eating still when you're traveling on vacation?
Yes, in that I actually have been working to be conscious of what I'm consuming, but also not have that be at the forefront of what I'm thinking. For a long time in my life, I would like build a whole schedule around food, and even especially when I'm watching what I eat, because I've had this fear of being hungry in a situation and then grumpy.
Yes.
Whereas I found this trip that wasn't the focus, particularly in the Woodstock portion. I'd realized at like 10 p.m. that I'd had breakfast, but nothing else all day and was
Okay.
fine. And then all of a sudden was
was
like,
not
"Oh."
fun.
And
Yeah.
one of the sponsors of the event was E. Cummings Contracting, who owns the Dairy Delight in Woodstock. So they set up their own dooryard delight right on site. So there was the odd sausage at night, but when we have an omelet for breakfast and then one sausage at night, it's really I really didn't eat that much.
Right. Yeah. No. And yeah, when you're having fun, you're doing things. Sometimes you just don't eat. Like that happens often. It's also a little bit of ADHD brain on that one too. You just forget to eat because you're doing something else.
Right.
Happens to me all the time. Even when I'm working, and sometimes I'll just work right through food and then, oh wait, I need to eat.
Yeah. Because especially and it's especially important to eat when you are trying to focus on.
Yeah.
Because you got to keep that fire stoked. Otherwise, your body will switch into
stay in fat mode.
Yeah. Staying fat mode, or your metabolism will slow to help you survive.
Yes. So I know when I vacation, I do eat a lot more. I eat a lot bigger variety of things. I know I've tried to in the past. I try and keep an eye on what I'm eating, though. I try not to like go too hard on greasy foods.
Yeah.
And I try and be like more like mom and pop shops and have a little bit more of an idea of that kind of thing. That's what I typically do when I vacation. So I know I'm going to Toronto in a little bit to go see Wu-Tang Clan, which if you're not watching, I have my Wu-Tang Clan shirt on right now.
He does, I can confirm.
So I think a big thing about that will be trying to not go to some of those fast food places that are around that we might not have here.
Right.
And it's more about trying to be conscious of what I'm eating there.
Yeah, totally. I know for me in the two places that I went, I was going and I knew people. And so I got invited to people's homes for a lot of meals, which was so great.
Nice.
I ate some lovely meals with my friend and my friend's mom, and then friends in Woodstock. I was like healthfully and well fed.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, it was great.
What did what did you eat in Woodstock? Anything delicious?
Oh, I had so many good meals. Like I had a delicious mushroom and basil omelet at my friend's house, and some chicken and root vegetables that very same night at the same place. I really made myself at home at Nick and Amy's. And then there's this restaurant in Woodstock called Walter's Table, and I really love their breakfast, and I also really like their Greek food. And another friend of mine makes their homemade brown bread.
Okay.
And it is to die for.
Nice. I don't think I've ever really eaten in Woodstock, now that I think of it. I think the only place I've ever eaten in Woodstock is Murray's.
Oh, yeah. Well, Murray's makes a really good turkey soup and homemade roll.
Yeah, I think that's the only... And that's typically because we're driving like Plaster Rock and it's like the halfway point or whatever. You stop it and fill up gas and fill up your stomach and keep going.
Have you tried the Cross Creek beer yet? I know you're in your other world.
So they were at the Big Axe Beer Fest, so I got a chance to try them. That was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. So
Yeah, I spent a little bit of time in there, and they had some delicious beer.
yeah,
There wasn't a miss as far as I'm concerned.
Nice.
I tried a few of them.
I need to get up because they're only about a year old now.
Yeah.
So I need to make the trek up to Woodstock. It's just
We should do that sometime.
yeah.
We could take this podcast on the road.
Take the podcast on the road.
Yeah. And we could do your thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like beer.
Who doesn't like beer? So, do you have any other vacation plans for the summer or anything coming up?
Nothing set in stone at this point. This was my big
This is your
thing,
big thing.
and my gosh, was it worth it?
This was your big adventure. Nice.
Yeah, Kate's big adventure.
I have a week off coming up, but I don't know really what I'm gonna do. I'd like to get to Halifax if
Yeah.
I can. I love Halifax.
It's a great city.
Yeah.
You can eat at Canteen.
Well, that's in Dartmouth, not Halifax.
I know, it's just across the water.
I don't typically go into Dartmouth.
Take the ferry.
I don't typically go into Dartmouth
Why? It's lovely.
because
It's really great. It's
Oh.
it's really come alive, and their Dartmouth downtown is quite lovely.
all the beer is in Halifax, though.
And there's some beer in Dartmouth
All the beers in Halifax, from Propeller to Two Crows,
too.
Garrison.
Yeah, they all go across the water too.
Okay. But I will be in Halifax. Hopefully, that I really, really want to get to Halifax. That is my super hope for this
Yeah.
summer, at least for like a day or something, even if it's just to get down there and enjoy what it is Halifax
Yeah.
and see the beavers swimming through the water.
Hopefully that's done.
Hopefully, let's hope. By the
Gosh.
time I get down there, it should hopefully be all cleaned up. Let's hope.
Yeah. Oh man, that's unbelievable.
And we have come like a full loop on this already.
I know.
But yeah, I think for vacation and eating, I think that's kind of the key, is to just be aware but not like overly conscious. I think
Right.
that's
Be
kind of the
kind to
key.
yourself.
Right. Eat, live, move.
Eat, live, move.
Right. That's
And it's
the
all
motto.
about balance. I danced my heart out to the hypochondriacs
Ooh.
on Saturday night. Yes. So I hosted this James Mullinger show, and then he and I both went down to the main stage and introduced the headliner of the evening, the hypochondriacs. And it was quite a time. And I noticed today on a photo of James and I on the main stage in the River Valley News Facebook page. And I was like, oh, I made the local news.
Nice.
And the reporter, who was my first employer, first guy who hired me in journalism, Jim Dunville, he wrote the article, and he referred to me as James Mullinger's assistant, which
Oh,
I feel like I have a bone to pick about that.
I think.
I mean, I'm
you,
happily James Mullinger's assistant.
I think James Mullinger owes you back pay now.
No, not James Mullinger, Jim
No.
Dunville.
Yeah, but Mullinger.
He's the problem.
No, Mullinger owes you back pay now.
No.
Listen.
No. We had a great time.
As his assistant.
Yeah. I'd happily take that role on. In this particular case, I wouldn't have called it that.
Oh, good times. Yeah, I'm super excited for summer vacations happening, and all the vacations coming up. But I think we are done for the week.
I think so. I think we're about ready to sweat it out.
It is hot in here. It is time to call it quits. But before we do, where can people find you?
People can find me on the internet. No, on Facebook, Caitlin Dean. We are Kate and Isaiah Living Large on Facebook. I am on Instagram as Kated or Kate D. And I won't even talk about the other one anymore because it doesn't matter. And on TikTok at Fat Caitlin.
Ooh, X? We're
Yeah.
not talking about X.
I couldn't remember what it was called.
Not Twitter anymore. It's X for those of you that aren't in the
And it's at the Caitlin Dean on X.
aren't in the know. And I am at Maritime Brews on all the social medias, including X. You have to do the cross arms thing too. Apparently, that's the whole. That's
what Elon wants.
That's what makes it cool. That's what Elon wants. Yeah. So at Maritime Brews on all the things. But other than that, I appreciate all of you listening, watching, and everything. And if you aren't watching us on YouTube, come on over, check us out, and please like and subscribe and leave us a nice little comment. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.